To get to places you've never been, you have to do things that you've never done. And I want you to think about that for a moment. Sit with that thought. You know, it's really easy to get caught up in the everyday struggles, everyday energy vampires, everyday mistakes and problems and troubles, all those little things. They can take our energy from us easily. And sometimes life will go that way. You know, like, there'll be one thing that goes wrong. You might get sick, or someone you love might get sick, and then next, you'll be at work, something will go wrong, something will break, a customer will be rude, and then next you'll get home, and there's no ingredients for what you wanted to make for dinner. It seems like it's a snowball effect, which it is. That's because you're being tested. Life itself has to have ups and downs. It needs the fluctuation of enjoyment and non-enjoyment, non-suffering, suffering. Without this flow, there is no movement. It's all just one stagnant line. You need to have the up for the down, the bad for the good. But we can always choose how we respond in each of these moments. It can be very easy to give up hope, to get upset, to let these things take hold of us. But you need to be mindful of how you respond each and every time. All the universe ever wants from you is energy anyway. And so, depending on how you respond to something, you'll be emitting a certain level of energy, a certain frequency of energy, a certain level of focus that only you can choose. So when that thing goes bad, when it snowballs and all these things are going wrong, when things feel against you, when the universe feels like it's just testing you again and again, that's because it's wanting to see your reaction. Will you do the same as last time? Will you do the same thing you did before? Will you get angry again? Will you insult that person again? Will you stop and will you think about it? Will you take a deep breath and respond differently? The only way we can get to places where we want to be is through change. We can't magically appear out of nowhere. It's not possible. You have to be flexible. And that's okay. Think about that. To get to places you've never been, to be a person you've never been, you have to do things you've never done. You have to practice things you've never practiced. You have to face things you've never faced before. Recently, I decided to try a bunch of new things. I started playing football again. Started trying to meditate more frequently again. And it comes with challenges. I was scared. I was very scared to play football again. To meet new people. I didn't know how good I would be. I didn't know what to expect. But if I let the fear consume me, and I never played football, I would be the same person. I would be letting fear win, matter of fact. The uncomfort of becoming someone new is sometimes more daunting, usually more daunting, than the comfort of being the same. But it's good to ask, is it worth it? Would you rather stay the same and be comfortable, or change and be uncomfortable? Now for me, that was a great choice. I have started, the sport again. I've got better stamina. I like playing football in general. It's quite fulfilling to play. I needed that uncomfortable moment, the challenge, to progress. And I think in day-to-day life, in a lot of people, challenge and suffering and upset and anger and disappointment, a lot of people try to avoid that. But avoiding those things is one of the worst things you could ever do. You need to have the problems. You need to have the suffering. You need to have all of these dilemmas coming up. All of these moments where you need it to be right and it doesn't go right and you get let down. All those moments where you stub your toe, or your mobile data runs out, or they don't have that thing at their shop. You need moments like that to test your character. Without that, you stay the same. You stay where you are. You stay in that comfort again and again and again. You don't get put into stressful situations, small or big. Getting lost in a random country without your phone. That's a massive stressful situation, and it will test you beyond means that you don't even understand yet. Whereas other times it can be as small as losing your phone for like 5 minutes. It's still a stressful situation, but it's very mild. You need moments like this. Moments like this help reflection. Recently, I've been experiencing this. I made this video because I've been inspired by my own suffering. It's not large suffering. It's a lot of small sufferings built on top of each other that is equating to problems. I was at work today and I hurt my back. I accidentally ate out of date food. It made me feel weird. I had to have a nap because I felt sick. I didn't sleep well. I had a nightmare. I stubbed my toe earlier. I ran out of my mobile data, so I have to wait for it to renew. Currently struggling to pay for things because I didn't budget properly. I had someone do me wrong recently. Stacking and stacking and stacking and stacking. Now before, this would really bother me. I would probably be quite upset and stressed. Not to say I'm not stressed, but in the past I would deal with this a lot differently. It would upset me. I would be complaining. I would let it get the best of me. It would absorb my focus completely. Whereas now, after learning and internalizing that life flows up and down, up and down. The universe will give you tests, and then it will give you gifts, and then it will give you lessons, and then it will give you all types of things like this. I know this is a moment in time where I'm being tested. My reactions to these moments are being tested. Am I going to stay the same? Am I going to keep complaining? Am I going to let it upset me and consume me, take over my emotions, take over my thoughts? Or, instead, I can wait, I can pause, I can take a deep breath, I can let the deep breath exhale, and I can remind myself this is a moment in time. This is one fraction of so much time in my life, in my, not just my human life, but in my existence as a soul. And I can react differently. And that's what I've been doing. And this is what it's all about. To be the best version of yourself. To improve to a place that you want to be. To change and grow in the ways you want to. You have to have good offense as well as defense. It's very easy to get caught up in what's great about life. What we can wish for, what we're thankful for, what we're grateful for. Sometimes you can get lost in it, but it's a lot easier to bring back, uncover. There are loads of beautiful things in this life that we can appreciate. But sometimes the real test is, how will you defend yourself? How will you respond when that goes wrong? What happens when things come crashing down? When nothing seems to be going right? When you paid for that bill and a new one comes up that you forgot about? When your friendships are going wrong, when no one's communicating with you the way you want? Are you going to give up? Are you going to avoid it? Or are you going to face it head on? With suffering in general, along with its necessity, the mind loves to trick all of us, human beings, into thinking that it is the end. Almost like it's a spiritual death of some sort. A metaphysical death, where it's, I can't pay for this, I don't know what I'm going to do, all of this has gone wrong and I'm stressed, I don't know what's going to happen. When you pause and you look at the adversity straight on, you focus on it, it soon dissipates. You realise the reality of the situation. It can be all-encompassing, all-encompassing, all-encompassing. And that's because your focus is being shifted. Things might have been great. You might have been at the peak of something. And then it all starts crashing down and it's, why did that happen to me? Why me? But that's the whole point. That's what the universe wants to happen. It wants to keep you in the same line, the same frequency. If you often complain, if you often say, why me, why do I deserve this? You have created that identity for yourself. So when you start to change that, it's like anything. When you change a habit, it's unfamiliar, it's weird. When every morning you greet your cat or your dog, one morning you don't, and they're puzzled looking at you thinking, why are you not doing that? We are all creatures of habit on this earth. It's the same for us humans. We all operate the same way. We create these identities for ourselves and then complain about why we can never change into someone we want to be. When you reinforce something again and again and again, to change that will be hard. And a lot of people do not have what it takes to face adversity. Most of my biggest teachings have been through the most suffering I've experienced. So many people have turned their life around when they have hit rock bottom. The balance is in everything. There is a yin to a yang. There is always a dark and a light, an up and a down, an in and an out. There has to be the opposite. To be courageous in facing fear is one of the most outstanding things you can do as a human being. And it's okay to be scared. It's always okay to be scared. Fear is an evolutionary feeling that we have experienced for thousands of years. Whenever the first human was, they felt fear / anxiety. It comes from survival. We have fear to survive. But in our modern day, fear gets the best of us a lot of the time. You know, it's so easy to think, well, that's unfamiliar, I'm not going to do that. It can be from like trying a food, all the way up to quitting a job, all the way up to staying alive. Sometimes we choose the mildly annoying reality and avoid what could be a beautiful reality. All because we don't want to work hard. Emotion, amongst anything, is the most powerful thing in this universe. When I say universe, I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about me, I'm talking about you, I'm talking about everything that surrounds me and you. I'm talking about the people that we interact with. I'm talking about everything and anything, because we're all the same thing. The universe is all encapsulating. When I say the universe, I'm talking about everything, because it is everything. When the universe is fluctuating, you know, it's on its way down, you're being tested, you will have people and situations and events and all these things come out of nowhere, and you'll be wondering, why are these people against me? Why are these things happening? It is literally you. And I know that sounds crazy, but I promise you it's the truth. If you see someone else, they have a different body to you. They're a whole different person. And physically, we are different. But in spiritual terms, we are all the same. You are being tested by yourself. At the same time, you are being tested by someone different. You are being tested by yourself. How you respond to that, it's all personal within you. I'm not taking anything away from anyone. You know, I'm not saying people aren't real or anything, because that's far-fetched. I'm just saying we are all the same. We all operate through the same laws. We all operate through the same universal laws as well. And I know a lot of people don't believe in manifestation and things like this, but I think it's very clear that there is certain things, certain energies, certain flows in this life that affect things. To be someone you've never been, you have to do things you've never done. The reality that doesn't exist for you now doesn't mean it won't ever exist. You have to believe. You have to believe and you have to focus. When I said a lot of people in modern day don't face adversity, don't like to suffer, it's not that suffering is nice, Because it's not. Who would want to voluntarily go through painful things? It's not a nice experience. But how you deal with the experience is what the most important thing is. You can't control a lot of things in this life, but you can always control how you respond to something. And that is the most important part of anything. So when you're going about your day, I want you to think about this. I want you to take moments to pause in good situations and bad ones. In moments where you feel completely enraged, where you feel joyful, where you feel bored, where you feel alone. If you respond in the same way every time, there will only be one outcome. If you pause, if you consciously choose how you respond, and you change the direction, there will be different outcomes. Are you going to accept that suffering exists and face it? Or are you going to ignore it and keep going about the way you want to? The cycle keeps going until a change is made. And it's important as well to keep the gratitude flowing on top of all of this. When you set goals for yourself, if there is no appreciation in the middle of that, it becomes a checklist instead of a strive to be better. And that is a flaw that will kill your consistency as well. I'm going to wrap this up here. I appreciate you. Stay blessed in this wonderful world we live in, in this crazy existence. To be someone you've never been, you have to do things you've never done. Each time you react, just pause for a second. Think about it. Is it worth your focus and time? That's for you to decide. Stay blessed, everybody.